Hey everybody, I didn't forget you. I'm just late like usual. Not even that late, I don't think. Hang on one sec. Yeah, that applies to you too. Wow. Hi. Hi, buddy. All right, where's the sound? Let's do this. Test, test, hello. Hi. Can everybody hear me okay? I bet you can. Let's see, where's that camera pointed? I guess that's all right. Hi, Cape. Come on up here. Hi, Cape. Hi, Cardigan. We got Parka. We got Noodles. Hey, big guy. You are a big boy. Little Poncho. All right, only got one letter today, and not a whole lot of news, but we'll go over the news first. Let me check, of course, to make sure that I'm audible. Let's see here. So many clicks to get there. Mic is good. Okay, thanks, Jaguar. All right, so I'm glad you can hear me. So first off, the news of the week is everybody here is spayed and neutered at this point. So everybody's ready to be adopted and go home with their adopters anytime that their adopters are ready. And so I was talking to Michelle at DAWS just this morning, and she let me know that some of them do have approved adopters. Let's see if I can remember the list correctly. We have Cape and Cardigan going together to one adopter that I think is the one I reached out to on Discord this morning. So they haven't responded yet because I just did. That's what I was doing when I came in here. So, but they have a note from me on Discord. So if you are that person or think you're that person, check your Discord messages. Otherwise, I'll email you in a little while. I think that's a great pairing to go together. Obviously, they're both very friendly. You can see them snuggling with me right now. Cape is a crazy lap cat, and she just loves to be snuggled on someone's lap or sit on my chest when I'm laying down, and it's great. And then Cardigan is just a kitten. She's just a little oversized for a kitten, but definitely a kitten, as you can see. So that's great that they're going together. We also have an approved adopter for Parka, who is currently wrestling, also a big kitten. Parka is, hi Parky, come here. Parka is also like really social. I think that she's a little bit more social with people even than Cardigan, although Cardigan's no slouch, so she's gonna be great to go as a single kitty. This little Parka. Okay. And I was just in the middle of typing out an email to Parka's adopter, which I haven't yet sent. I realized that it was 11 o'clock and I ran down here. So if you're Parka's adopter or applied for Parka, I keep an eye on your email and I'll be sending you something. If you're on Discord, I don't know it. So, and then finally, Michelle says that we have an approved adopter for Cloak and both of her kittens, Tutu and Romper, together with Cloak, all at once, which I think is fantastic. But she did say that that application, was approved quite a while ago because we had all that issue with the ringworm and stuff. So these kids have been here for a while now, and she hadn't spoken to the adopter for a bit and wasn't sure if they were still, on the hook for it. That doesn't sound right. Still going for it anyway. There's no judgment if they're not. Circumstances change. The kids were here for a long time. They're still adorable kittens. Tutu and Romper are just so cute, and their mom Cloak is special. She needs some special love. So I think it's great that she's been going with her kittens, or in theory. So I sent an email to that person as well. If you are that person, check your email. Just to find out if it's still going to happen that way or if we need to put feelers out. I do know that I think there's been a number of people who have applied for Tutu. I guess she kind of stands out, which is great. You know, all the kittens are wonderful in their own ways and need adopters. The rest of them don't have any applications or adopters yet, as far as I know, or don't have an approved adopter anyway. So all the rest are still well up for grabs, and I think there's some real good kittens in that crowd. Obviously, there's Poncho right here in front of me. Oh, okay, good timing for him to decide to get up and go see what's going on in the litter box. Poncho's wonderful, big boy. He's a big boy, and he is just a kitten, so he is going to probably be a giant cat. But he's fun. He's a cute, you know, nice, sweet boy. Nothing that I could say about him one way or the other that was, you know. He does, sometimes he gets like a little bit into it with the other cats because I think he's just big and wants to play and they don't always get it, but he's fine with the faculty, he's fine with most of the kids upstairs most of the time. I think he would get along with anybody else's cats and do just perfect. Just might need a little bit of hand holding at first to make sure he doesn't overwhelm them. Let's see, there's Noodles, who's right over here. She's just a bundle of joy. She is so playful and so loving, and she does now, you can see she's learned to get along okay. She's going to take a little while to get along with any other cats, so you have to be ready for that. But given some time, she obviously does great. She's doing great with these guys. And she's also great with the other kids upstairs when we put them together, and she's pretty good with the faculty, although Logan for some reason does not like her and will go after her, and Maggie too. Maggie I'm not surprised by, she does that with a lot of them, but Logan is unusual. But for whatever reason, Logan's decided that she is not cool, and she responds to that you know, by also sort of being obviously intimidated by him, and I think that also encourages him to be more intimidating. So it kind of plays off of itself, so they don't get along very well. But she's done great with everybody else, and I feel like she would do well with just about any cat. So she's got that going for her, and then like I said, she loves to play like crazy. She's not even that treat driven, but for play she will do anything. Just a lot of fun, and then she likes to snuggle and stuff too. She's just a good cat all around. Let's see, which leaves us with Jumper and the two girls. Oh no, Jumper and Blazer, and yeah, no, that's right, Jumper, Blazer, and Smock. All still need somebody. Jumper, Blazer, Smock. And they're fun too. They're good kitties. Smock and Smock especially is so shy. She just loves to hide, and she gets real easily intimidated by other cats. She obviously gets along fine with most of them. We put her together with other cats, and she does okay. Maggie goes after her. Again, not a surprise, which is why we try to keep Maggie away from her. But when Maggie does go after her, she just goes and hides. You know, and I think she feels bad about it. I've noticed that the more that we keep her out of those situations, like with Maggie, the less that she hides, the more that she comes around. So I think that with the right environment, she could be a cat that was really social. But with the Maggie keeping her down around here, and these kids go after her a little bit too, which is why the two groups are separate. That's the only reason, just because of Smock and I think it's Smock, Cardigan, and the other girl, Parka, who kind of get into it. So that's why they're separate. Smock is very, very shy though, and excellent at hiding. If you adopt Smock, you're really going to have to make sure that you know where all the little hidey holes are in your house, because she'll find them and get in there and be hidden away, and you'll just never know where she's at. But she likes to come out and snuggle. You know, when I'm sitting in my chair upstairs in the bedroom, she likes to come and sit right on my lap and hang out. So she's a lot of fun that way too. And obviously she's a kitten, so all kittens love to play, and she's well into that. Her sister Jumper is much bigger. I don't think they're from the same litter. There was even, our vet for some reason assumed that Jumper was their mom, which I don't think is true, but it's also not entirely out of the realm of possibility. Jumper's still just a little kitten herself, though. She's not full grown. I don't think that she's old enough to have been a mom for that, and she doesn't seem like she's been a mom, so I don't think that's true at all. I think Jumper's just been their older sister the whole time. So Jumper's a lot of fun too. She's on that same spectrum where she's a little bit more of a shy cat, but she also is playful like the boy Poncho here, where she can sometimes be a little overbearing in trying to play with the other cats. So you got to keep an eye out for that. But she's just fun. She's got that crazy face too with the funny markings, and her eyes are always like Ari's eyes, like real big owl eyes, which is just adorable. She's so cute. So that's Jumper. And then obviously there's little Blazer, who in my opinion is the standout from all the kittens. He is definitely the most social, not counting the mom cats, of course, like Gabe just sitting here ready to be petted all day long. But as far as the kittens go, he's like an outgoing bundle of energy, crazy. He hasn't got any common sense. He's so bold and confident, he'll just run into anything. So you got to keep an eye out for that. He doesn't have sense. You know, he's the kind of cat that's going to be jumping on the stove if you're not watching out for him. So, but a lot of fun. Like I said, I think as far as the kittens go, he definitely stands out as being the most social. So he probably is going to find somebody pretty quick. And I think it'd be great to see him go with one or both of his sisters, but not necessary either. They all do just fine. So that's it. That's my pitch for adopting. Now, there's something else that I wanted to say if you're still listening. I know I went on about that for a while. But about adopting the cats, which is, you know, we've got our move date set up now. We're moving on, or the week of the 7th, because they come in, they pack, and not pack, because we're going to have everything packed, hopefully. There's still some things like the TVs and whatever they're going to be responsible for packing. So they come in on... they've got the 7th and the 8th to get all of our stuff here put into trucks, and then they deliver it in the new house a few days later. I don't know why it takes them a few days to get from here to there. If it's anything like the last time we moved, sometimes they use the same truck to move multiple people, and they sort of line them up, and so they'll have your stuff at the front of the truck and somebody else, you know, packed in behind you, which might be the case. Maybe that's why it takes them a few days to get the things moved and unpacked. But either way, we've got basically that whole week is moving week, and it's not entirely decided which day we will move of that time, but I think once the movers are done here, whether it's the 7th or the 8th, that's probably when we'll go, like so Wednesday at the latest. That said, I was talking to Michelle at DAWS. Whichever kittens and cats have not yet found their adopters as of the previous weekend, the 5th or 6th, we're going to have to move them to DAWS. And DAWS is pretty full up on fosters at the moment, according to Michelle. So I'd hate to see these guys have to hang out at DAWS for a while. Plenty of cats do, though. It's a fine, fine shelter. Although, again, I wouldn't, man, I don't even want to see him go to another foster, really, because they're super special, and, you know, we haven't had to do that basically hardly ever. I guess Cuddles counts as one that we did that with. Other than that, I can't think of any example since we've been here, and I think there might have been a couple in Illinois. So obviously I don't like having to do that, but that's what we're going to have to do if that date comes and they're not adopted yet. And I don't want to say that like it's a threat. In fact, the reason I'm bringing it up is so that I can mention that Michelle said if anybody is local and isn't too sure about adopting but has room to foster for a little while, not all of them, just, you know, maybe a couple people could take a couple of them. If anybody has room to foster that is relatively local, let me know, or let Michelle at DAWS know. She's the one that would be the foster manager for cats at DAWS. So probably best to contact her directly. I am terrible about communicating with people, but if you want to go through us to get to that too, that's fine. It's just anybody local that might want to foster these kittens, just hang on to them for a little while and take care of them until they find their adopters. I don't think it'll take very long, but it might take longer than the 2 weeks that we've got. So, so if you can't adopt, but you could foster, please, you know, let Michelle know, because that would be super valuable right now. I think that's it for everything I wanted to say, though. So again, anybody local that might want to foster, I'm really putting the shout out for that and begging anybody that could to consider it, because I doubt every single one of the kittens is going to be adopted in the next fingers crossed, it could happen. It would be great if we got enough applications and we got everybody adopted in the next 2 weeks, but I doubt it. So we're probably going to be pushing real hard for some fosters. And again, I don't mean to sound this like it's a threat or anything, but if we don't find them, they'll have to hang out at the shelter for a while. I don't think that's going to be terrible. Might even be fun for them. You never know. But I'd prefer that didn't have to happen. So there you have it. Okay, we have one letter this week, so that was Mailbag. You basically had all of Mailbag, but we do have a mail, so let's take that and see what we got. Dear Mr. A, that's me. Here are some more questions for a Mailbag Ramble. Perfect. That's exactly what we need right now, isn't it? That reminds me, before I get into your ramble, I was at the post office this morning and I asked them about forwarding our mail. So we're going to have everything forwarded from here to the new place starting soon, which isn't to say that you should send stuff for the new place now to here. That would be a bad idea, because we don't trust the forwarding and it takes a long time and things are probably more likely to get lost. So don't do that. But just to let you know, this is probably the last real mailbag we're going to do here, because next week is K8 Con, right? That's next week? I don't have my watch on, so I don't know the date. I think it's next weekend is K8 Con, so there won't be a mailbag then. I'll be at the con. And then the weekend after that is our last weekend before we move, and we'll probably be doing any sort of last minute stuff and maybe be transferring some cats to their fosters, to their new fosters that weekend. So there probably won't be a mailbag then either. So we're looking at the next mailbag being in Pennsylvania in about 3 weeks. Look forward to that. Okay. Please share about pets you've had. What kind of animals did you grow up with? Oh, that's great. Well, mostly, my mom was a huge animal person, and that's obviously where I get it from then. And we had all kinds of animals when I was growing up, but mostly I would say dogs and birds. My mom was real big into birds, and we had like the whole garage turned into an aviary at one point. Mostly little finches, like canaries. She did a lot of canaries. Zebra finches she was big into for a while, and especially the ones that stood out though is we had a lovebird that had been sort of hand raised named Junior, one of those green like little lovebirds, and he was really sweet. He was very socialized with people and would hang out with us, and he'd sit on your shoulder and just super playful and fun. And then at some point, Mom decided that he should, I guess, help breed, and brought him a girlfriend. And after that, I think that at least she told me, I remember her saying in advance that when that happened, they usually aren't as friendly afterwards. And I don't really remember. I was pretty young then, so I don't remember how all that went. But I remember that his girlfriend was never that kind of friendly. That's what I remember. We also had an African gray parrot for a while, and my mom recently had another African gray parrot. Those are really cool birds, just super smart and talkative. Was it an African gray recently? I think it was. Now I'm not sure. I'm confused, but that's okay. Anyway, birds, lots of birds. And then dogs, of course. She bred bulldogs and pugs for a while, so she always liked the toy breeds, I think. We had a lot of bulldogs. We had a lot of pugs around when I was a kid. And then, we had some odds and ends too. My dad liked hunting dogs. Had an Irish setter for a while. We had a Pekingese. That's not a hunting dog. That's one of my mom's toy dogs, obviously. Pekingese. Mostly bulldogs and pugs, though. A couple poodles. My mom did all kinds of dog grooming. She did dog training. She did all this kind of stuff with her dogs. And then she's always had a couple turtles around, mostly box turtles, but we've had every kind. We had a tortoise, we had those little red-eared sliders that you get as kids. Mostly box turtles, though. I think she's still got box turtles. And guinea pigs. She's always had guinea pigs around. I don't think she's got any right now, but I love the little sound that they make. I've always loved guinea pig noises. I'd have them if I didn't think the cats would drive them crazy. So we grew up with a lot of guinea pigs, and then obviously the kid pets, we all had hamsters, or I had a pet rat for a while. Those are really smart too. Let's see, hamsters, rat. My brother liked the weird stuff. Like I think he had tarantula for a while, some snakes, you know, here and there. He had a frog that was like one of these, they used to sell, they probably still do, like an aquatic frog thing that you would order through the mail, and they would send you this little tiny aquatic frog and you would raise it. And his got gigantic, I mean huge. Like it was in not just a 10-gallon aquarium. I think we had to put it in like a 30-gallon, and it was even in there it was cramped, it got so big. I remember that. Fish, I should say. My mom's always kept a couple of aquariums around with lots and lots of types of fish in it, so we had plenty of that as well. Right now, she still runs aquariums at her house that have like cute little shrimp in them, and I don't know. Can't think of what kind of fish she's been raising lately. She went through a period for a long time where she was raising koi, which are like oversized goldfish that are you know, like fancy collector's items, and she would get some that were really beautiful and I guess super expensive. That was fun. I always liked koi. I would have a koi pond if I had the opportunity. Of course, that's a lot of work and commitment. Yeah, so lots of pets around when I was a kid. I mean, I just grew up with every kind of pet. I should probably be able to name some other types of like more rare pets that we had, but nothing's coming to mind off the top of my head. We had all kinds of stuff. My mom made sure that we were exposed to all kinds of things. It was a great experience. So yeah, that's where I get it from. What pets did you have as an adult? Well, as an adult, I've had a fish tank I kept for a little while with some hatchet fish in it, and a figure-8 puffer, I think. It's been a while. Other than that, it's been mostly cats. And a couple dogs here and there. We had a Scottish Terrier. Some of you might remember we had Elsie, a beautiful, wonderful golden who was with us for the first several years of Kitten Academy. And I would do a dog again in a heartbeat if I felt like I had the time to really get it going, which I might after the move. That's always been what I've said. Of course, now I've got all kinds of projects lined up for right after the move. So I'm going to probably end up putting it off again, but I have been saying for a long time that after the move I would seriously think about bringing a dog back into the academy, and I would. Yeah, mostly cats, a couple dogs, the one fish tank, and I think that's it. I haven't really had any, no birds, guinea pigs, none of that kind of stuff since I've been an adult living on my own. How did you come to have some of these animals? Oh, that's fun too. Please tell about some of your favorite and/or special pets. Thanks, Elizabeth, who is Jean Louise on Discord. Well, thank you, Elizabeth. All right. Favorite and/or special pets, and how have you come to have some of these animals? Well, obviously you know about Kitten Academy. Before Kitten Academy, most of the animals I've ever had have come through my mom, because like the Scottish Terrier that I mentioned was hers. And then the Elsie, the golden that we had, was through a breeder friend of my mom's. My mom was doing agility with her dogs for a long time, you know, where you have the dogs run an obstacle course. And the agility trainer that she worked with like every week raised golden retrievers that she trained for agility. And so Elsie had been an agility dog for the first 3 years of her life, and was really well trained before she came to us. And Elsie was slated to be bred there by the breeder and have, you know, the next generation of agility dogs. But they do genetic testing, and it was found out through genetic testing that she wasn't going to work out for them. And so she was basically disqualified at that point, and that is why she came to us. Yeah, that's how we ended up with Elsie, and that worked out so well that I would go to someone like that, I think, in a heartbeat and say, hey, you know, if you got an older dog that's retired or something like that, you know, one that comes in that's already trained and we know has been trained extensively to be good with other animals, like Elsie was, you know, would be perfect. Really, it saved me a lot of headache too. You know, other animals that I think of, I think of mostly ones when I was younger. the very first pet that I remember living with, at that age I couldn't really say was mine, was a Scottish Terrier named Dirk. I guess that's kind of a Scottish-y name, I would guess. He was just real special, fun, black Scottish Terrier. Since then, most of the ones my mom have been the what do you call it, the tan-colored ones. Yeah, and then most of the cats, you know, that have been really special to me, you guys already know about because they've been special to me while we've been doing Kitten Academy. So I don't know if I need to bring those all up. Riley was one of my most special cats. I think that was just before Kitten Academy started, so you guys may not know him quite as well, but he was really a special one for me before we got started on this. I mentioned Junior the Lovebird, who was also a special memory of mine, because you know I was at that right age, I guess. That is just about it for the stuff that comes to mind, though, as being particularly noteworthy. And yeah, most of it's just through my mom, I guess. Yeah, so thank you. That was a good chance to have some stuff to sort of talk about during Mailbag too. So I appreciate it. And I would adopt these kids. You know, I'd take them all with us if we could, but I think that we've got 5 cats of our own that are faculty now, and I feel like that's a little bit too many. Like we shouldn't have quite so many if we didn't have the commitment. You know, we're committed to them, obviously. But I think that we will try to avoid maintaining that number in the future. I think, you know, 4 or even 3 or possibly even 2 is like a real safe number. With DJ being as busy as she is, you know, it's mostly me that has time to take care of them. And I think for one person, 2 cats could be a lot, depending on what kind of personalities they have and how much attention they need. Plus the fact that then I still am going to continue fostering. So, you know, I've got that time taken up as well. But these are all good kids that would be a lot of fun for somebody. So I hope, again, that if you aren't the person that can adopt these, but you live close enough to consider fostering them for DAWS, definitely consider that. It would be really helpful to us. It would be really helpful to DAWS, and it would be especially helpful to the cats, whichever ones it is that would end up getting fostered. I know that they would appreciate that quite a bit. So. All right, there you have it. That's probably our last mailbag in Connecticut. Did not end with a bang, but that's the way we would want it. You know, we don't want to have a whole bunch of stuff coming in at the last minute. And I really, again, I so much appreciate everybody taking that to heart and not flooding us with stuff in these last couple weeks, since we have so much to do to get moved. That's really helpful, and I greatly appreciate the consideration that all of you have had for us. So, all right, that's that. I do have stuff. My day is supposed to be packing and also disassembling some things that still need to get taken apart. So that's what I'm supposed to be up to, and we'll see how much of it actually gets done today. We're getting to the point now where there's a bunch of stuff that needs to be packed that I'm kind of trying to push off just a little bit longer, like the kitchen, you know, because it's stuff you use all the time, or the bedroom closet because it's stuff that we use all the time. Even so, there's plenty of it we could pack if we just, you know, sort of tried to pick out the stuff that we don't use very often. Excuse me, there's still a lot of that. So I guess that's what we're up to. Okay, thanks again, everybody. And, you know, if you're not adopting or fostering, but you have friends who might, put the word out for me. Again, I appreciate it. Have a good one. Thank you, everybody.